872nd edition of the MMA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog. Get up to $1,000 deposit match when you sign up at UnderdogFantasy.com and use promo code MMA SGPN.
Hi-ho, Degenerinos. Welcome to episode 872 of the MMA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. Dedicated to, obviously, Crispy Carly. Judy's, how good did she look last night? And most importantly, took her to the third round, but she came through for me. She hit the my TKO prop, so I got plus 417 on that. So obviously this has to go out to Crispy. Carly, well, we'll talk about last night a little bit, but not much went well once the main card rolled around last night. I'm one of your hosts, Canadian Bogatir, Jeff Fox. With me, as always, Daniel Gumby of Reland. I don't think it was a very good weekend for regional MMA as well, but hey, these things happen in MMA sometimes, right, Gumby?
Yeah, we had a rare off weekend, and we're kind of due for a return to that, right? Like I think I had a 6-unit weekend last weekend for regional, and 11-1 at UFC Nashville, 11-1 at UFC Baku. I think you had a 10-2 in there.
Yeah.
In between those two events. So everything regresses a little bit back to the mean. So we were due a bad weekend, but there's lots more MMA this weekend. There's actually, this regional MMA week is actually amazing. So we're going to be breaking down LFA, as you guys see from the title right here, LFA 213 on this one, which is a pretty damn good card.
Yep.
We've got some Ryzen later in the week. We got some Fury later on in the week, and that's skipping UAE Warriors has got 2 shows. Sometimes we do those, but not enough space. I think there was another one too where we've done Uriah Faber. Was it Uriah Faber or Anthony Pettis this week? It's one of those two.
Yeah, well, we've covered them both, but yes, yep.
One of those weirdly named ones. So there's lots of good regional MMA this week. Kind of a fun UFC fight card this weekend too. And this one's the one in Abu Dhabi, right?
Yeah. Whitaker, De Ridder in the main event. Very interesting main event. I haven't figured out who I'm going to pick there yet, so I really got to give it some thought. I think it's not a obvious. Oh, obviously I'm picking that guy. So which is what you want. So
it's a good week in general for MMA. Yeah. So a little bit of a down last weekend, so we'll get the bounce back this one.
Well, it wasn't a down. I hit we had our first 5. I hit my first 6. I was 8-1, and then the main card came around and whoa.
What a weird main card too.
Yeah, just every pick wrong in the main card.
Yeah, it was just not. I guess if we're gonna highlight one thing, because we shouldn't dwell on this. This is an LFA episode, not a UFC episode. Where did that Paulo Costa go? Like, and there's lots of things we could say, right? The main event was fun, and Michael Johnson seems to defy age, and a bunch of people forgot how to fight, like Kopylov and Zellhuber apparently don't know how to fight anymore. But also that Paulo Costa is that's title challenger Paulo Costa.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So where the hell has he been? What kind of duds has he been turning in that if this is that version of himself would have a fun fight with DDP.
He was in Turkey, was he not? Is that where he was? Turkey.
Oh, I have no idea where he was.
Getting stuff done.
Oh, did he get hair? Did he get hair stuff done? Oh, I didn't know.
No, I'm joking. I don't know. he does have a full head of hair all of a sudden again, and now he's winning fights. So maybe that's all it takes. He's Samson.
There it is.
Maybe. And we'll talk more UFC as Gumby coming up on Wednesday. But as my faithful host said, we have a very good LFA event to cover today. So let's dive into it. After I remind you, you can get all SGPN picks and props for free with the SGPN app. You get it wherever you get your apps. All right, LFA 213. I've even looked where it is happening. This is taking place in
Connecticut or Lemoore, California.
Yes,
right?
Tai Chi Palace Casino and Resort. Shout out to Tai Chi Palace Fights. That's where all the little guys had to fight back in the day, right?
Uncle Creepy.
Yeah, exactly. That was basically Tai Chi Palace Fights was one of the only North American places where they let those flyweights fight. So Tai Chi Palace Fights Casino and Resort in Lemoore, California, or Lemoore. It's LFA 213. Mecate versus Visconde is going down this coming Saturday, 7 p.m. Eastern. So UFC probably starting at a weird time, right? It's probably earlier in the day, right? Because it's
because it's in Abu Dhabi. So I think it's a noon start or something like that.
that would make sense why LFA is, since LFA is on the same network, well, streaming network, that would make sense for why LFA is even, noon Eastern time. So UFC will be your appetizer for the entree that is LFA 213. So 7 p.m. as I said, Saturday night, 11 fights in a cage. We're going to start things off with a familiar last name, Shealor Ladd. Is he one of the lads, Gumby?
Yeah, this is Aspen's little brother.
Yeah. He's fighting Pedro Loai Jr., lad, United States of America. Loai Jr. is from Cuba, and they are fighting at 205, 3 5-minute rounds. Talk about Loai Jr. He is no odds yet, but LFA odds are very easy to get, and they should be dropping very shortly. Loai Jr. 2-0, 1 knockout, 1 submission, so he goes his rounds. 1-0 in LFA. He's got 5 inches reach over Ladd. Ladd is 2-0 with 2 knockouts. Both his fights take place in LFA. He's an inch taller than Loai Jr. So a couple of newcomers, generally speaking, here.
Yeah, and obviously I'm familiar with Shealor Ladd because, like LFA signed him and is hyping him right away. I had to do a little research on Loai Jr. I watched his first fight. He's a little bit frantic for a light heavyweight. He's one of those guys who's coming out swinging for the fences right from the get-go. And I watched his last fight. He stung his opponent maybe within the first 30 seconds of the fight, and then immediately was like, oh, this is my chance to wrestle. Yeah, and I was like,
that's not good.
I was like, damn. And here's the kicker. He wasn't even real good at it. Like, he couldn't, like, I think he eventually got the guy down once, but it was like, it was a lot of like upper body locks and just trying to like muscle the guy to the ground and like, technique completely out the window. I mean, he looked like a 1-0 light heavyweight prospect, right? Like that's what you would come to expect from a regional light heavyweight prospect who's had one professional fight. And then Shealor Ladd, yes, he's got the same record, right? Both guys 2-0. But the thing about Shealor Ladd is he's got like 9 or 10 amateur fights too, right? Like when you have a sister who's been through the ringer, like, Aspen has, she made sure he came up with like a smart, or at least his coach did, made sure he came up doing the things the right way. He's fought 10 or 11 times already, despite being only 2-0. I think he's going to be a massive favorite here. I know his lines have sort of come down in his last couple of fights because, like, everybody expected him to be this hot prospect with 9 amateur fights. And, he's shown that he's not quite ready for the big show yet. Like, he's not a UFC prospect until he wins 5 or 6 more fights, right? So, like, he's still got holes too. So, like, those lines have come down a little bit. So, like, maybe -300 here is a realistic expectation of where to get him. And I'm going to pick him because the big difference between him and Loai Jr. is the technique. We mentioned Loai Jr., big power, swinging for the fences, like wants to get in on wrestling, but can't really. Like, Shealor Ladd is the guy who, slowly plods his way in, throws a couple of jabs, gets down on the hips, works for the takedown, has ideas of what he wants to do on top. Like, is it fast and explosive yet? No, not really. Is he like deadly with the hands? No, that part of his game is kind of coming around. But the part I really like about Shealor Ladd is that, like, the building blocks are there for him. And I think Pedro Loai Jr. is the perfect guy to test that. Like, do the building blocks stick around when there's a big guy in your face swinging as hard as he can? I don't know. But I'm going to pick Shealor Ladd. -300 would definitely make me worry on a 2-0 light heavyweight. So I don't know how much I would be in on that on my own, or how much I want to like burst my parlays with a 2-0 light heavyweight. But Shealor Ladd's the official pick here.
He's only 83% on Tapology, so
people are coming down on him. Yeah, a little bit.
The odds won't be that crazy when they drop, but hopefully.
I mean, if you could get him at like -225, like I'd sprinkle him into parlays at -225.
That's
like,
pretty much the ceiling for you, though.
Yeah, and I don't think he'll come. I don't think he'll come in that low. I would be surprised though. He might be one of those guys who like posts at -400 and then just like creeps down because people are trying to fade him.
Yeah.
But I still think, like, because he's not a flashy light heavyweight, people will bet the other side, and he's still like the better technical guy.
All right, cool. We're doing lightweights next. Both Americans, Edmund, Kwan, Loai, Abushaar. Let's break her down. Abushaar first is 4-1, two knockouts, 2 submissions, and he's been knocked out once. He goes his rounds. This is his debut in LFA. Won his last fight via submission. He used to fight at 170. He's 8 inches taller than Kwan. I think he's 6 feet, if I remember correctly, at lightweight. Kwan,
he's bigger than that even.
Really? I thought it was 6 and yeah, you could be right. 8. He's probably like 6'4", more than likely.
Yeah, he's a big dude.
Yeah. Kwan, 4-0, 1 knockout, 3 submissions. He goes rounds 2, 2-0 in LFA. Yeah, I think Kwan's like, I'm gonna look it up now that we talked about it. Abushaar is 6'4", and he's 155 pounds, or actually last weigh-in he was 159 technically. So, all right, Gumby, break her down.
So I think Kwan is going to be the favorite here. My guess is like the -350, maybe even -400 range, like a +300 return on Abushaar. But I'm actually going to go underdog here. This is my fun underdog of the prelims because first of all, dude, that height is no joke, right?
Nope.
And if you watch Kwan too, like Kwan hasn't been the best at like closing distance on the feet. Like he doesn't get really great extension on his punches. Like it's a lot of tight hooks. It's a lot of coming up short with a jab. And like Abushaar is, I wrote on this page, weird lanky. He's weird lanky. I think we mentioned Kendall Grove last episode. He's kind of got that kind of build where he's like super long, goofy arms. He doesn't necessarily use it in the boxing all of that well yet. Like this is more of I guess he's more of a Stephen Struve lanky, right? Like he wants to use his length to triangle choke you. He wants to use his length to body triangle you, throw up an arm bar when he needs it, that kind of thing. But he does throw like some really long straight strikes, which can be really effective against a guy like Kwan who throws short stuff. He tends to get overextended a little bit, but I think in this case, even if he gets overextended against Kwan, I don't know that Kwan's going to be able to hit him. So that's a big problem. And then both of these guys have shown really bad takedown defense in the past. Abushaar, I think, is mostly just because he's like, I'd rather be on the ground. So if you want to take me down, let's do this thing. And then he tries to sweep you or do whatever. Kwan's is like more like, I think, ineptitude, to be completely honest. In his last fight, he was taken down and beat up for the most of the first round. He had his back taken in the second round. And really, he only won when his like opponent slid off back control and then like exhausted himself and was just like laying on the bottom, like waiting for Kwan to finish him. So like, I see the positives of Kwan. I know why people like him as a prospect, because if he fights somebody who's in his range and isn't long and lanky, I think he's going to be good. If he fights strikers, I think he's going to be good. But kind of he's fighting a guy here who he really doesn't want to mix it up with on the mat, and he has to get inside, right? Like his only way to win this fight is to be in a phone booth because he's not going to touch him unless he's in a phone booth. And if he's in a phone booth, I think he's in submission danger. So I'm going to go with Abushaar here. I think that's kind of like a long shot underdog. He's a fun one.
He's not. I'm looking at pictures of him. He's really not that skinny. How the hell does he make 155?
Well, he missed weight last time.
That's true. 159 still. It's still even 159. Like he's not like skin and bones like you would think.
But he also isn't like, and I think about this all the time when I think about regional guys and their choice to move up or not. Yeah. He doesn't have a build of a welterweight though, right? Yeah. Like he would have to do some serious work to like bulk up to be a welter. So I get why he's trying to make 55, but hopefully it works out against Kwan.
Yeah, hopefully. All right. Hopefully this works out for all you listeners, or at least one of you. Circa Million and Circa Survivor. Think you know ball, then you have to enter Circa's football contest with $21 million in guaranteed prizes. There's no rake, so if entries go above the guarantee, all extra money will go to the prize pool. Circa Million, you pick 5 teams against the spread each week, or go for the ultimate sweat in Circa Survivor. There's even the Circa Grandissimo, a $100,000 Survivor contest. You must register in person at a Circa Sportsbook in Nevada, but hey, there's a great excuse to get to Vegas. And when you do sign up in Nevada, you can then play from anywhere with the help of SGPN's official proxy. So go to footballcontest.com and use the promo code SGP to get $50 off your proxy fees. And we are brought to you by MyBookie.ag. MyBookie is your place to bet in every sport, including the MLB, WNBA, golf, and of course, football futures. MyBookie accepts customers from a ton of locations. Easy deposit and lightning fast payouts using crypto. They will have all the LFA lines we're talking about right now posted. If they don't, by the time you hear this, they'll be there very shortly. When you do head to MyBookie.ag, use our promo code MMASGPN for 100% deposit match up to $1,000. Terms and conditions apply. That's MyBookie.ag, promo code MMASGPN. Odds are getting slower at books, I think, because they wait for us to drop episodes, Gumby. They want to hear what Gumby has to say.
They need to know.
Exactly. They need to know. All right. We're third from the top already. Rafael do Nascimento. Very good Brazilian name. He is from Brazil, Arnold Jimenez. He is from United States of America. I'll break it down. Did I tell you what they're fighting at? They're fighting at 135. Jimenez, we'll call him. 12-3 with 3 submissions. He's been submitted once. He also some finishes. 1-2 in LFA. He's won 4 straight, though. He's not lost since August 2022. Was regional champ. He's fought at 145. 2015 Pro MMA debut. 4 years younger than Do Nascimento, 2 inches taller. Do Nascimento's Mulisha, Mulisha.
He's got that metal militia tattoo on his back, too. It's sick.
We've talked about, oh, you think that's sick, do you? All right.
I think it's great. Like a early 2000s t-shirt brand tattoo.
Yes.
Yeah, that's MMA t-shirt tattoos from the 2000s.
Yeah, like awesome. Tap Out, or what was the one that was Silver Star? Was that the one that sponsored my contest back in the day?
Silver Star, Affliction,
any of those tattoos.
Metal Militia, Tap Out,
Bad Boy.
What was the one that Brock Lesnar used to be sponsored? That was great.
It starts with a G, doesn't it? I want to say Grudge or Grinder, but I'm not sure. Not Grindr. That's something different. Brock Lesnar is sponsored with Grindr by Grindr. That is our headline of this episode. I know what you mean, but I can't think of it. Probably some tractor company.
Oh, Warrior.
Okay. I was way off base then, wasn't I? All right. We'll talk about Mulisha. 10-3. We've talked about him before. I remember the nickname. 10-3. One knockout, 7 submissions. He's never been finished himself. 4-2 in LFA. Lost win over his last 4. But he won his last bout via submission. He's fought at 145. 2013 Pro MMA debut. Jimenez already did Jimenez, and that's the breakdown. Go ahead, Gumby. I got the Grindr got me all.
Yeah, we got all excited about early 2000s t-shirt brands. Look, I think Do Nascimento, despite his recent losses, is probably going to be the favorite here. We'll say like -165, -170, kind of in that range. And I'm going to pick him here. Jimenez. I wasn't super familiar with him. I had to go back and watch him. Like, for some reason, he just did not stick in my brain at all. And when I did, it seems like there's a lot of, if not a Thai background, at least that's like the striking style he's taken most to. A lot of like front steps that make you think like, oh, he's getting ready to check a leg kick or something like that. And he's crafty on the feet. He cuts really nice angles. I don't necessarily like blown away by his power, but he is like, he's a crafty striker. He's also tried to wrestle a little bit, and like most of his wrestling, again, I don't mean to keep beating a dead horse here, but like upper body locks, looking for trips, and not like Henry Cejudo's inside trip, which you're like, damn, that's sharp as hell. But it's like, I thought I was going to take you down, and you're not going down, so I have to try to do something with the lower half of my body. And like that's not really worked for Jimenez in the past. And then when you watch Do Nascimento, look, the guy is not as technically proficient as Jimenez on the feet. That's for sure. He's a wild man. And in addition to being a wild man too, like he's reckless, and in a way that's like kind of cost him in the past, because if he was reckless before against a couple of wrestlers who took him down and kind of grinded him out for wins. And you can't be doing that all the time. And then in addition to that, I've seen him stunned on the feet because he gets so reckless that his striking defense isn't there. So those things would be negatives for him, but the big positive for him, and the only positive I really need in order to pick him in this fight, is the fact that he is so good at jiu-jitsu. Like when he gets people to the ground, and even when they get him to the ground, you're immediately in danger. And I could see Jimenez definitely having his success on the feet here, but it's really only going to need one chance to get to the ground for Do Nascimento to submit him. Like if you watch his last fight, he won his last fight. The guy was standing and he kind of baited like he was going for a leg lock, but turned it into do you remember when Charles Oliveira submitted Erick wisely with a behind the back calf crusher?
Yes.
He hit that same calf crusher in his last fight, and you could tell even when he was throwing up the heel hook that he didn't even want the heel hook. He wanted the calf crusher that was coming after it. Immediate tap from his opponent, just like really sharp, really smart setups. Crafty stuff that people aren't going to see coming. And I think Jimenez is just going to fall victim to it just once. And that's really all it takes. So give me Do Nascimento here, probably ever so slight favorite.
All right. Do Nascimento. Do pick him. Co-main event time. Chris Gonzalez, Jacob Rosales. They rhyme, and they're both from the United States, and they're fighting at 155 here. So tell you about Rosales first. He's a Lil Badger. That's a good rap name. Good rap name for him. 16-9, 7 knockouts, 3 submissions. He's been knocked out twice, submitted once. 4-2 in LFA. He's won 3 of 4 and 5 of his last 10. Submission win in his last bout. 3-0 in Bellator, RIP. 0-2 in Contender Series. All right, Gumby, you got to remember both people.
I remember this. First one was JSP. And then the second one was Victor Martinez.
Yes, very good.
Victor
Gumby, he knows about Little Badger. All right, so that was Contender Series.
He was pretty game with JSP too.
Yep. Probably not going to get a third kick at the can though, right?
No. He's on the right path too. He's having fun fights in LFA.
Yeah. Regional champ. He's fought at 145 and 170. 2015 pro MMA debut. He's also a pro grappler. He's 4 years younger than Gonzalez. Gonzalez CG is the nickname. Oh, I love it when they just use their initials. He's 8-3, 3 knockouts, 1 submission. He's been knocked out once, submitted once. This is his debut in LFA. Loss over his last 5. He's not fought since May 2023. He's not. Let me see. He's not won since February 2023. So he's not fought since May 2023. Has not won in over 2 years now. February 2023. He went 7-3 in Bellator. RIP Bellator.
And that's it.
That's it. People experienced guys.
I'm having a tough time lining this one because on one hand we got a guy who's younger and has been on Contender Series multiple times. And you would think that the books would probably lean in his favor, but he's also had like some issues with, his record. It's not the cleanest looking thing.
Issues with winning fights.
Yeah. And then Chris Gonzalez, on the other hand, like you just said, he had a pretty damn good record in Bellator. He won at least one pretty high profile fight over in Bellator. So like, I'm going to say pick him. I don't really know where this one's going to fall. But I'm going to go on the Jacob Rosales side. And the reason is like, he didn't have his moment on Contender Series, right? And he seems to have resharpened everything that he needed to, because in his first fight or second fight with LFA, his last fight, whenever his last fight was, his last fight with LFA, he really started to like put together some very nice combinations on the feet. Like he was pouring it on his opponent, like multiple punch combinations over and over and over again. I also like how his wrestling's looked lately. He's gotten in on the hips a couple of times on guys. The shots aren't from too far away. Just like real sharp looking grappling from time to time. He's probably not going to take down Gonzalez because if you watch Gonzalez when he was in Bellator, like Gonzalez stuffed, who is it? Max Rushkoff. Remember Max Rushkoff, the guy who quit in the UFC and they never gave him another shot. But he was a hell of a wrestler. He stuffed him a couple of times and then eventually he hit him with a cross that knocked him back and out. But the big thing for me that I don't like about Chris Gonzalez is it's a lot of like waiting for his opponent to go first. He's real patient on the feet, his guard's up, and he like I said, he's shown a little bit of power, but like it's cost him in a couple of his recent fights. Was it Tim Wilde he fought? I think he just waited too much for Wilde to go first and wound up being on the wrong end of most striking exchanges. Because if you're somebody who likes to counter, the last thing you want to see is somebody who thrives in going first and going forward and is going to hit you with 7 things, and move out of the way on the way. Like, the thing about Rosales is he is not going to throw one punch and pivot or one punch and hang around and look to get hit. He's going to hit you with 3 and he's going to dance. And like, I think that does really well. And then when you add in on top of that too, if Gonzalez starts getting real frustrated with that and, throwing bigger on the counters, I do think the wrestling game of Rosales has gotten pretty damn good. So, again, I don't know how this one's going to be aligned. I'll say pick him, but I like Jacob Rosales and his combinations.
The Tapologists are very firmly on someone's side, 82%. What side do you think they're on?
I'm going to say Gonzalez is because of this record.
Correct.
Yeah, correct. Tapology folk are higher on records than they are on past Contender Series bouts.
Well, hopefully the odds makers are as well, right? Because you can use a nice juicy dog to come through here.
Yeah.
All right. We got one more fight to break down in full. Before that, let me tell you about Underdog. Underdog Best Ball Mania is happening all summer long, giving away $15 million in prizes, including $2 million to first place. No waiver wire, no arguments about trades. Best ball is the best way to play fantasy football. Underdog is also a great place to play at Pick'em. Gumby will give you an example of a play you can make right now in Pick'em.
Sure. We're going to go to MLB. That's right. They're back now that I don't have to pick any more WNBA stuff. So I'm going to take the higher than on, let's go with Jack Flaherty's strikeouts. He's playing the the Pittsburgh Pirates. There's pretty much nothing better for your strikeout totals than playing against the Pittsburgh Pirates. It'll actually be a fun pitching matchup on Monday between him and Skeens. But he's gone for 7, 8, and 9 in his last 3. So we're going to take the higher than on Jack Flaherty's strikeouts.
All right, take that and take the code I'm about to give you, MMA SGPN. Take all of it over at underdogfantasy.com and claim your special pick and first time deposit offer up to $1,000 in the bonus credit. So underdogfantasy.com, promo code MMA SGPN. And you've heard us talk about Rhythm before, and they just dropped a game-changing feature called Power Trends. Essentially, the best of the best, what their house model has to offer. These are AI-detected patterns where Rhythm's model has consistently won, has a high ROI. Think a strikeout prop that wins 59% of the time when the line and win probability hit a certain range. Power Trends are updated daily and exclusive to Rhythm. No touts, no noise, just clean data-backed bets. Here's some proof to all that I am telling you. Their MLB Power Trends are 254 and 147, which is a win rate of 63% and an ROI of 4.5% in their past 400 bets. And the WNBA Power Trends since launch, 35 and 20, 63.64% win rate, 20.7% ROI. So download the Rhythm app, check out Power Trends, and start betting smarter. You know we will be. Gumby always stumbles across good things on Power Trends, right?
Yeah, I didn't need help on Jack Flaherty, but I'm sure that one's on there too.
Yep. You would think. So check it out for yourself. Get a 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm, RITHMM. And just like that, we are to our main event. No belt on the line. 3 5-minute rounds, 145. LFA doesn't have a lot of events with belts. Are a lot of their belts not active currently, or what's going on here?
No, I mean, they've got the normal amount of belts, but they also put on 2 to 3 shows a month, right? Don't they put on 2 shows a month? So 24 events, and you only got, I mean, they don't really have that many women's champions either. So they're working with like 7 champs and a lot of shows. So.
Very true. Very true. Erick, Visconde, United States, Chris Mecate from the U.S. of America. That's you guys call it that, right? The U.S. of America. I think that's what it's known as.
We do not. That's
no.
incorrect.
Oh, sorry, my bad. They're fighting at featherweight. We've talked about both these gentlemen plenty of times in the past, or at least once. Chris Mecate is 11 and 2, 4 knockouts, 1 submission. He's been knocked out once, submitted once, so he's been finishing both his losses. 3 and 1 in LFA. He's won 5 straight and 10 of 11, so he's on a nice little run here. He's not lost since August 2023. He used to fight at 175. 2 inches taller, 4 inches of reach advantage over Visconde. Sabugo is Visconde, which means cob, like corn on the cob. I think we've talked about that before as well. Yeah. He's 15 and 3, 5 knockouts, 6 submissions. He's been submitted once. He's 2 and 1 in LFA. He's won 2 straight and 8 of 9. TKO win in his last bout. Multiple region championships on his
mantle.
Correct. Get our shirt, get our merch, get all the good stuff. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/store. He's fight down at 135, 4 inches. Sorry, not 4 inches, 4 years younger than McCabe.
Yeah, so I think McCate's going to be the favorite. He seems to be somebody people are hyped on, probably like -150. You might get like plus 130 on the return on Visconde. And I'm going to go underdog again. I'm going to take Visconde. The reason I like Visconde, first of all, I really love his fight with Ari Farias. It showed me pretty much everything I needed to know about the guy. Ari Farias known for some pretty damn good grappling, and I think everybody thought he was going to kind of be the lightweight threat out of this LFA division for a while. And not only did Visconde stuff his takedown attempts, but he scrambled with him. He wound up in better positions most of the time, and that bodes really well for fighting Mecate, who is like a guy who doesn't necessarily start wrestling, but like can fall back on his wrestling if he needs to. And I think, if he waits any amount of time, Visconde is going to be, able to stuff it. And then in addition to that too, I just love the power of Visconde. He winds up hitting a spinning back elbow directly on the chin of Ari Farias, sleeps him worse than you've seen a lot of knockouts. Like it's one of my favorite regional knockouts of the last year or so. And so like he's got big power, and he does too when he's just throwing. It's not just spinning back elbows that do it. He's got big power. And then Mecate, he's definitely the taller and longer fighter in this fight. But the big problem for me with him is just that like he doesn't use a jab. Like he'll use that long straight, but he really isn't living behind a jab the way you need to, which is weird too, because like one of his best traits is his pressure. He like turns up pressure, makes you fight off your back foot. But then and he'll throw a really long straight, be there to be countered. And then he'll throw like a leg kick where his hands drop and he's like ready to be countered again. So like for everything I like about the size of Mecate and what he can do, I think Visconde on the counters is just going to be too deadly for 15 minutes. I wouldn't want to worry about Chris Mcate's chin for 15 minutes if I was in on like a negative 150 ticket on him. So I'm going to take the dog money. I'm going to say Visconde at some point in time catches him.
All right. Works for me. This recap will get you some bonus round picks here. He's got Visconde. He's got Rosales. He has got Nascimento. He has got Abushaar. He has got Lad. All right. Lightning round. Zap, bam, boom, pow. Plenty to choose from.
So I'm going to take another Rosales in my lightning round. I'm going to take Alondria Rosales, who is the wife of Jacob Rosales, fighting here on the prelims. She was a prospect I really liked like a couple of years ago. She was, I think, 2 or 3-0 at the time. She's fallen to 3-3, but like I do think the skills are still there. Like she's got a really nice ground game, and she's sort of figured out the hands a little bit better lately. And I know the results aren't there for her, but I think Alondria Rosales has got, and they gave her a good matchup. They gave her a girl who's 1-2. So give me Alondria Rosales, and then I'm also going to take Gabby McComb. Gabby McComb, for those of you who don't know, 2-time world champion in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu in both the gi and the no gi. She is an absolute beast when things hit the mat. Right now, she's training with Alexa Grasso and Weili Zhang are her two of her best training partners. I know she's 1-0, but like she's such a good prospect right now in terms of her jiu-jitsu, and like she really took her time to come over to MMA. Like she did the whole jiu-jitsu thing for a while, but when she did, she's done it the right way. Her hands look like they're a lot better than you would expect for a 1-0 Brazilian jiu-jitsu specialist. Like I think she is just going to tear through this division. You're going to see her at like 5 or 6-0 by this time next year. So give me Gabby McComb and give me Alondria Rosales.
All right. You are set now for LFA. Check us out in the Discord, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Discord. Check us out on the YouTube in the comment section, MMA Gambling Podcast. Check us out on the Twitter, SGPN MMA. He's at Gummy Reeland. I'm at Jeff Fox Writer there. And on Instagram, check out my Substack. I have a weekly UFC pick'em. That's for free, and a bunch of other stuff. You should, if you like MMA and you like gambling, you should enjoy it. moneymma.substack.com. Gummy's got another podcast called Top Turtle MMA. Who is on it this week, Gummy?
So I am actually talking to the aforementioned Gabby McComb, nice. Who is fighting at LFA this weekend. And I'm talking to somebody fighting on the first episode of Contender Series, Damian Panache, who you might remember we talked about on the show because of his nickname. His nickname is the Baba Yaga.
Yes. All right. Check it out. And I saw they were running ads last night for Contender Series. It's almost time. And of course, sportsgamblingpodcast.com, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/store for all your merch needs, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Patreon for your bonus content needs. Back tomorrow, Little Badger Jeff Fox, Militia Vreeland. We'll talk to you then.